sharing information to their peers or to their parents, the differences between dynamic and static content, talking a little bit more about the buzzwords such as QR codes and link shorteners. Those are things we see everywhere. But did you know that we can actually create our own? And then lastly, explaining a hyperdoc and how we can actually collaborate online together at the same time on one Word document, one Excel document, presentation, whatever it may be, using the internet and using the tools that we have at our disposal. But before we get to that, for our second icebreaker for today, now, if you are able to, and you either have a laptop or QR code. If you have a smartphone, just scan the QR code that's here on the left-hand side. And if you do have a laptop, then just type in the short link right here. So this is now the introduction to how QR codes and link shorteners. Now, this will take you to a short quiz about QR codes and link shorteners. Don't worry, there's no grade or anything. Just to show you how we basically created a Google form, and then we gave you different ways that you can access that Google form. Now, Ms. Bailey, can you access it from your side?
Yes, I can.
Okay, great. So we're just going to give you a minute or two to just fill in that register.
Oh.
All right, so while you are filling it in, as you can see here, this is just a quick and easy way for you to get a form across. Years ago, it was difficult to get a Google form across because you had to email it to someone with that long link, and then they would have to access it, and you had to give them permission and all of those things. But now with the emergence and the increasing popularity of QR codes and link shorteners, now it's easy for us to get our document or get our presentation across without having to go through that long QR code, the long URL code that we have to retype. And if you miss one word or the slash is on the wrong end, then you're not able to access it anymore. Ms. Bailey, do you remember those days where you had to type out that long links, and then after a while you're getting confused between the numbers and the letters?
Definitely. I know Asamakle, who works with me in the office, had to remember we had a Google form that everybody needed. And Asamakle went around to everybody's office and punched in that long code. Oh my goodness. It was ridiculous. And at the end, I think she remembered everything.
But I can also speak from my own experience at the high school I'm teaching. I'm teaching at para high school. Before we really discovered QR codes and link shorteners, we used to house most of our documents electronically. But a lot of the teachers were still very old school and they were used to the paper method. So then myself and a few others had to walk around their classrooms with this long link and then type it in the computer so they could access the document. And after a while, you would just get so confused and then the document would go missing or whatever it may be. So that gets me to the second part, which is what is ease of access. Now, ease of access is making sure all our learners and parents have quick and easy access to digital resources. Now, what I'm talking about here is that documentation, the newsletters, the briefings that you have to give out to parents or give out to learners. Now, a lot of the time, it's a hard copy. But usually, when things happen, for example, I think last year we had the horrible taxi strike. Right, schools were closed in an instant, and it was difficult for you to get information across to the parents because who are you going to give it to? Because it happened, I think, on a Sunday evening, and then that whole week we didn't have school. Do you remember that, Miss Bailey?
Yeah, it was quite scary,
It was quite
but
a
I
scary.
remember.
Yeah, and then it was difficult for us to get information across. But that's why we're trying to make it easy for us to access information and give it to the parents by using the technological things that we have on our end, such as a QR code or such as a link shortener. Because then it's easy just to upload it to maybe a Facebook post or Instagram post or post in a WhatsApp group, and then people can just access the newsletter to explain that the schools are going to be closed instead of having all of those hard copies. Now, I know a lot of schools have technological difficulties, and there's also one way to actually navigate through it because most of us have cell phones, or most kids also have cell phones, and most of it has the capability of scanning a QR code or accessing the internet by using a link. So this is just one way that we can actually make it easy for ourselves as educators and make it easy for our learners and our parents. Now, taking it to a learner perspective, us learning about QR codes and link shorteners is not just to make our lives easier, but also the learners' lives easier. I'll use a quick example where at my school we use QR codes for basically everything. Now, recently we started planning our matric ball because unfortunately I'm the matric ball committee, even though I'm not creative at all. But we decided that we're no longer going to give out a physical invitation. We're going to use a QR code. So we make a cute basket with all the decorations and stuff, and then there's a small QR code inside. And the child scans the QR code, and then all the information for the matric ball is directly on their cell phone. Because in the past we had circumstances and situations where the child arrives at the school but they lost their invite or they lost their ticket towards the matric ball, and then we had to look on the list, did are they allowed to come to matric ball and all of those things. But once they scanned the QR code, it was automatically on the phone. They would just screenshot it to keep it for safekeeping, and then they'll show up and show us a screenshot of that invitation, which is cool because then now we basically helping them to also learn about how they can use QR codes in their own life and not just for schoolwork but for other things as well. Miss Bailey, how do you guys use it at the department?
I am obsessed with QR codes. I use it for almost everything. So if we have a presentation, we will scan it. I know the foundation phase also did it for the conference. They would scan the QR code and you'd be able to see the presenter's bio, the program for the day. We've got it all around the district over here for upskilling. We've got it for registration forms. The list is endless. So I literally am obsessed with QR codes. I also like it at clicks when you can scan it, and then it also has all your information.
Exactly that. So it made life so much easier. And the one thing that it also does is it takes you directly to the content that you want people to see. So no longer do they type out a long URL code and then maybe it takes them to a different site because they missed a letter, or it takes them to a different website because they missed out a few slashes or hyphens. Now it takes you directly to the content that you want the people to see. Same with the learners. If you provide them with a QR code to extra resources or take them directly to that extra resources without them going online, typing the website, but then they're like, oh, okay, I am online, so let me go look at a newsletter or let me go start playing games. So now it takes them directly to the content that you want them to see. Now, most learners, as I said, they have access to cell phones. They have access to um, sometimes laptops and desktops, but depending on the situation. So unfortunately, or fortunately, at my school, we have access to a few computers and laptops where the child is able to sit after school and actually make use of that desktop to do their task and do the information and study and all of those things. But I do know there's a lot of schools that do not have those resources, such as I think Aquila High School, where Maiganon is deputy slash principal. They don't have any resources there. So a lot of times the kids actually do have outdated smartphones, but they do have a phone and they can just scan the QR code or type in the link shortener. Right, are there any questions yet, Ms. Bailey, before I continue?
No, I don't think that there are any questions right now. We do have Liesel and Kaylin who are also here. So they are also free to interact with you regarding this topic. I see that they are here as presenters. So if they have something to say, of course, they are able to join in on this awesome conversation. Thanks, JC.
Right, so now I'm going to pose a question to the chat. So anyone in the chat, if you can just tell me what is static content and what is dynamic content before we continue, before I explain the differences between the two. A hint, static content is what we used to do years ago, and dynamic content is what we use right now. Dynamic, the word definition of dynamic means movement and static means standing still. So if anyone can just tell me what's the difference between the two. I would ask you, Ms. Bailey, but I think you already know the definitions of both.
I also think that you gave the answer away.
I gave the definitions of the word, but not really the answer.
Okay, let's
Help the
see. I
people out.
posed the question in the chat. Let's see.
Are there any responses yet?
Yes, Arifa Havaji says dynamic is interactive content, static is learning passively. Liesel says dynamic content that change like current events.
Exactly that. So let's start first with static content. Now, static content refers to content that doesn't change. So it's basically a document that you saved on your computer, but if you want to make changes, you have to go to that exact computer. You can't do it on another computer unless you save it onto a USB, a floppy disk, or on a hard drive. Right, so it's static meaning it can't change and you cannot access it from anywhere else except if you have that USB, that floppy disk, or that hard drive. So it's often hosted on a local device and it typically includes PDFs, PowerPoints, and Word docs. Now, why I say static content is what we done years ago because that's the way that we used to get information across. I remember years ago when I was still a teaching assistant, so I was helping out at the primary school. And then they used to work on documents. For example, they had to maybe fill out documents for each child, maybe a progress report that they're sending home for the week. And then what they used to do is they used to save that document on a USB, and then they would pass it around to every educator just to put it into their computer, type it, save it, and then take out the USB, and then they would actually take it to every single class because they weren't allowed to work on separate ones because how were they going to compile it together? I remember those days, Miss Bailey, where you had to walk around with the USB and the USB would become corrupted and then you would lose
I
all your
hate that.
information.
I hate that. Liesel says it's exhausting. I remember you get a virus. That is just the easiest way for you as a life orientation to explain um, being unsafe is to walk around with a flash drive, putting it into every single computer. It's just horrible. And it
Exactly.
also took so much time. It was ridiculous because you would never ever know how that person even saved the document in the first place.
Exactly. And especially if someone, you gave it to someone the USB and then they realize, oh, but you didn't give it to me, you gave it to the next person. And now you have to play detective and try to find that USB that everyone basically has the same version of.
Unfortunately, JC, that is still the case at some schools. So I think this is a way for us to help them work smarter and not
Ex-
harder.
And that's a great segue into dynamic content, Ms. Bailey. So dynamic means movement, it means change, it means things can change over time and that's flexibility. Now, dynamic content is where we want to move to. I know a lot of schools that are still stuck in a static way. I know a lot of schools that are still in between. And at my school, everything is basically electronic. The only time that we actually make a hard copy or save it to our local drive on our desktop is when it is our own personal documents that we don't want anyone else to see. But otherwise, everything is housed on a dynamic content site. At our school, we are a Microsoft school, so we use the Microsoft 365, so SharePoint to share documents, OneDrive, and all of those things, which we'll get into a little later on in the session. So dynamic content has to be hosted online. It typically includes web ads such as Google Suite, Office 365, or Canva. So think about it this way. Dynamic content is when you can upload a document to, say, your Google Drive or your OneDrive, and you're able to access it from anywhere. So you don't have to just use your computer. You can use someone else's computer, just sign into your account, and the document will be there. You can download the dynamic content onto your desktop, but you're going to need internet to sync the changes. So sync the changes basically means that the document, the changes that you make offline, can be changed also online, so that when you access that document anywhere else, then you are able to see all of those changes. So dynamic content is where we want to be, where we want schools to actually be, because we don't want you to no longer just work on a local device and then you have to walk around with a USB or floppy disk. Now everything can be housed on the cloud, inverted commas, the cloud, and you can use it anywhere else, and you can actually have freedom of mind that the file won't be corrupted, there won't be viruses, and there's rare cases where things happen to your Google Drive or your OneDrive.
And your two colleagues in the chat are saying that share docs are the best thing since sliced bread and popcorn. And a lot of the applications allow for this, which is awesome. And your computer crashes and all your data is gone. That's horrible. That's the worst.
Exactly that, especially when your computer crashes, because everything that's housed on your computer sometimes cannot be recovered. But the great thing about dynamic content is that it can be recovered if you accidentally delete it, because it gets saved in a recyclable for 90 days. All right, so I'll just quickly show that just to give everyone a demonstration of dynamic content. So let me just stop sharing quickly. All right, let me open up my OneDrive and then let's share that quick. All right, can you see my screen, Ms. Bailey?
Yes, I can. I'm just looking at the chat between Liesel and Kaylin. They are insane human beings. So, never save data to your desktop, back it up to the cloud. Back up all your information to the cloud.
Exactly that. Alright, so this is just an example of dynamic content. So as you can see here, this is my school OneDrive, and you can see all my documents, all my folders is on this OneDrive right here that's on my desktop. Now, if you look at the status bar shows a cloud. So that means that this folder is saved to the cloud. I can access this folder from anywhere as long as I sign into my OneDrive. If you see a person next to it, it means that someone else is also collaborating on this folder with me. So it means that I shared this folder with everyone else and they have the same folder, but any changes that they make will automatically be shown on my end. And if it does show the circle one here, it means it's processing. It means it's still busy uploading to the cloud. Now, the great thing about this is that it's shared on the school drive or the school OneDrive. So if I'm absent one day and I need to give my kids work, I can just tell the teacher, just access my OneDrive, go to the folder that says, for example, exams 2025 or 2022 if I want them to work through old exam papers and then just show it up on the screen or download it for the kids or whatever it may be. So it is a cool way for me to have all the information online, but also for other people to access the information if I am absent or something has happened to me or I'm not able to present that lesson because I'm in the office for a meeting or whatever it may be. So this is one of the cool ways that dynamic content can work for you. Now you don't have to just do this with OneDrive. You can use Google as well. But as I said before, my school is a Microsoft school.
Yes, and Elmarie van Heerden says learners can also work on a project collaboratively on the weekend and from everywhere. And I know here in the office, in our team, we literally use Microsoft Teams and Google Workspace almost every day to share information, to just make it a bit easier. But if it's something very important, I'll first print it out and have somebody else read it to make sure that it's correct.
I just want to add on Elmarie's statement there. I actually do that with my life orientation tasks. So usually in term three, sorry, there's a group assignment where the kids have to work together on the assignment for life orientation. What I taught them was to create a collaboration document and then add me on the document. Right, so they add me on there so that I can keep track of how far they are with the project. I can actually see who's doing their section and who isn't doing their section. I can monitor. And then what I love to do is usually in my admin periods, and I'll go on there and I'll make small comments to say, okay, maybe take this out and add this, or maybe review this statement. It seems a bit short. So now all 7 people are collaborating on one document. I can see what they're doing and I can also monitor their process. And usually that works great because then you don't have this of, sir, but this one wasn't doing their part, or sir, this one's lying, I did do my part. Now I can actually monitor and see. Because later on we're going to do a hypertalk that involves all of these things that I'm speaking about now. And then you'll see every person technically has a different color that they're typing in, or the icon pops up in a different color. So you can keep track of who's typing what. And the great thing is that you can actually type on your cell phone if you do have the necessary internet connection, which is great. So now they can't say that they don't have access to a computer, whatever, to do their homework. They can, if you are a school that allows cell phones, they can bring it to school and they can work on the document together. Right, so why share with links? So it's a great way of creating access. Mobile devices work well with cloud hosted resources, and then sharing a link means you're sharing dynamic content which can be changed and updated as you go. Now, the great thing, which we'll show you now in a few minutes about links, is that you can share the link to the document, but you can change everything on the document and not have to change the link. So the link will stay the same even if you change stuff on the document. And the same as with the QR code, if you maybe change a few questions in that form that we showed you, then it's fine because you don't have to recreate a new QR code or recreate another link. You can use the same one and continue straight on. So it's not like previously where you had to delete a document and then upload a new document and delete the document. It changes as you go as long as you have internet connection. All right, so I think this is now you, Miss Bailey.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
Great. Okay, so where does a QR code and Bitly fit into? So if we look in the chat, you will see that one of our colleagues says that it can make your life, not make your life better, it's just making you more efficient. And I know that we work with a lot of information. During the 2020, we had to get information out as fast as possible to learners, to teachers, to everybody. And it really fast tracked everything. It made everything a little bit quicker in terms of our uptake of technology and learners' uptake of technology. So QR codes, you can use it for any resources. Most devices will accept it. I was standing in Pick and Pay, and there was something about the card, and you've got like some amount of percent off or whatever. And I just opened up my camera and I scanned the QR code. And the lady behind me looked at me and said, "What did you just do? Show me." And then she was a bit older than me. And I showed her, and she said she had no idea that she was able to use her camera to scan a QR code. And I think it's important that these are things that us as the teachers, we need to be on top of everything before we even uh, go into the classroom with it. Okay. So my favorite link shortener is actually something that we shouldn't be promoting at the moment, but it is Bitly. So I am going to show that with you, or show that to you right now.
And if you are able to work along with Miss Bailey, because it is really cool.
Okay, so what I firstly want to show you is, here we go. This is what you look at when you want to join a session. But if you look on top, you'll see that it says here bit.ly.m.wced. Okay, that means that all of these little buttons are actual links to something else. And if you look at this one, this is the Metro North one that we have for you. If you want information here again, it is bit.ly.m.mned learn. Foundation phase, back on track, any information you need. These are mini links within a link. And I think that is something that is really cool for us. We have so much information. For example, I will use the foundation phase as an example. They have a beautiful resource. I will open it right now. They have a beautiful resource, but they were struggling to get it out. So what we did was we put everything that we feel as a district is important on this one page. So now when somebody clicks on foundation phase, they go to the beautiful resource immediately. So there's no reason for anybody to say, no, I do not have access to it, because all you had to do was click on something. Another one, for example, for those of you who are interested in cyber wellness, CTLI, whatever, these are things that you can click on and it takes you directly to the other link, which is already in there. Mini links within everything. Okay, so there's some information on Back on Track. So I am going to go to Bitly quickly and I'm going to type it in. And why should I not be promoting this? Bitly has reduced its capability for most users. Now, I have a very old account, and therefore I have some wonderful features that not a lot of people have access to. Don't like hearing myself. So what do? You sign in, just like Kaylin has been showing us yesterday with Book Creator and with Edpuzzle. You sign in with your Google account. So this is my Google account. And here you can create a link, or you can just click on create new. And then you would be able to either create a shortened link or a QR code or this landing page that I've shown you. JC, are we still following along? It looks differently on my cell phone than what I am talking about.
Yes, we're still following along.
Oh, okay, cool. Then, so you can see here are all my QR codes that I have created over the years. Links, sorry, and then here are my QR codes, that weird little blob that you scan whenever you do anything for e-learning or anything these days, really. And then what I wanted to quickly show you was pages. So this is the link. So this is, let me open it up for you. This is what it looks like. So we can see that foundation phase has had 244 clicks in the last 30 days. So you can see I can move all of these things around. So if I wanted to, which I don't want to, I could move back on track ahead of foundation phase. And now I know Jennifer Daniels and team's going crazy over there. I will change it again. Then we've got everything over there. If I wanted to change the links that are there, I could also do that. But that's a bit more of for self-exploration, and you can also come and have a chat with me about
Miss
that.
Bailey,
Yes, sir.
is this still on the free version? Or did you upgrade the plan?
This is still on my current version. So what do you see on your version?
My version doesn't have any of these things
Does it only have
because
links and QR codes?
it has everything, but everything else is under the new paywall that they established.
Okay, and that's why we're not allowed to talk
To use
about
it.
it. But links, it's still a very cool thing for you to explore. So I'm going to create a shortened link. And that when they talk about the destination, they're talking about this long link that JC was referring to. Okay, so that would be the destination. When they are referring to the shortened link, that would be the custom that you are able to create for yourself. Okay, so that would be links on Bitly. So I'm going to go and show you Rebrandly, which is the one that we can actually have a discussion about. So if you don't mind just pasting that in the chat quickly, JC, if you want to talk about Rebrandly, or should I?
You can continue. I'll just type in the link.
Okay. So with Rebrandly, you have a monthly limit of 10 links, which can also be QR codes. So you can also you make about 10 links depending on what you need them for. I think Bitly is 3 free links. So again, you will start for free. You will click on start for free, and then you will log in to everything. Okay.
We
Yeah,
have a
you can.
question, Miss Bailey.
Yes, sir.
Kashifa asks. It's actually funny. My thing is always, how do I scan the QR code that's sent to my phone that I'm using?
You would have to then just click on the link, Ashifa. I
But
understand that. I hate
yeah,
getting something that says, please scan the QR code and they send it to your cell phone. But with us, we've sent you the link and the QR code.
oh. But I can also answer that. Sometimes when they send
Yes.
you a QR code, if it is electronic and not a photo, if you click on the QR code, the link is hidden
Yes.
behind it. But if it's
Yes.
sent as a photo, you're going to need another cell phone to scan it,
Exactly.
unfortunately.
I'm with you on that, Kashifa. Don't invite me to your party and ask me to RSVP and then you send it on my cell phone. That's ridiculous. So here we go. This is what it would look like once you've created your Rebrandly account. And you can just click on new link. Now, if you want to start tracking your link shorteners, you would actually have to pay for that.
You get one free one a month.
Yeah. So that is unfortunate. Okay, I've suddenly logged out of my account. So that's unfortunate. Um, but do you really need to be tracking as much as you need to be tracking? What's going on here now?
So I'll just add on with
Yes, please.
Rebrandly, the great thing is there isn't as much limitations as Bitly. Now Bitly has capped a lot of the things. At the start, you could make probably I think 40 or
1,000.
50. QR codes and thousands of short links. Now they cap you at 10 or 15.
Yes.
But with Rebrandly, you can do much more. The only limitations of Rebrandly is that the tracking, you can only track, I think, one link a month or in your time frame that you are using Rebrandly. But the great thing about Rebrandly, if you do upgrade, you can have different workspaces where you and your colleagues can work together on different links and share links. And then you can see all of those AI analytics. But everything is in dollars, and we educators that don't have money, so the free version works perfectly fine.
Okay, Jesse. So if you want to create a new link, you would just click on the button that says new link. And then again, paste the destination URL and then your back half. And then you would create it. So let's give it a try. What do I want to do? Let's do this. So that's my destination. And I'm going to show you all of these things now. That's my destination. And this is the one that they have generated for you. So you can easily change that to something else. Okay. If you want to change it to dovetail or ease of access, for example, but they've already given you something, and that's something that is not too difficult to type in or to remember. And then I would create my link. And that is my link that I can then share with everybody to use. So if you had WhatsApp web open also on your screen, you could copy and paste and put it into WhatsApp web. You can copy and paste it and put it into your email. You can put it into your PDF document or into your document and convert to PDF, and people would still be able to click on it. So that is a little bit about Rebrandly. And then here is the little QR code that you have. And I'm sure if I click on customize, I would have to pay for it.
Exactly. Now, Bailey, there's a few people that's actually helping us out on the biggest scandal we have, which is a photographed QR code.
Yes.
So Arifa says the way that he or she does it, you can take a screenshot, scan it by opening your gallery to search for it under screenshots. That's cool. I'm gonna try
My
that one.
word.
And then
Okay.
Melissa Friedrichs, the other Melissa, says, actually, if you have a QR code reading app on your phone, you can upload a
You
pic
can
of the
upload
code
it.
in that app
Yes.
and it will present you with a link.
Yes. Liesel's hands up.
Let's go to Lisa. Let's just unmute her quick.
She can unmute.
Oh,
Okay, there.
okay. I hope you can hear me. Can you hear me?
Hi, Liesel.
Can you hear me, Casey? Hey, Casey?
Yes, I can, Liesel.
Okay, so just on the screenshot, if you do open an image, any image actually, image in your gallery, at the bottom right hand corner there'll be a yellow small little dot with a T inside. If you tap on that T, it takes all the text and it extracts all the text from the image. And then you can actually access the QR code. It will read the QR code and give you the link as well.
No, that's cool.
That's
It's a new
cool. That's a
feature,
nice little
on
tip
Android.
there.
Hmm.
Thank you for that, Liesel. Okay, so I would like to ask in the chat, how would you use a link shortener as a teacher, firstly? And then also, how do you think your learners can use a link shortener? So let's just have that quick conversation happening in the chat. How can your learners use it? How can you use it? So what I'm suggesting, JC, if you can give us an example there, type in teacher colon and then how you can do it, and then learner colon how you can do it.
Okay, I'm gonna type it or say it.
You can type it. So that's the example.
Okie doke. All right, I'm typing it. Now, Ms. Bailey, I know that you go around to a lot of schools and you watch a
Yes,
lot of
sir.
people present. What have you
Yes.
seen with people using QR codes and link shorteners?
Well, what I have seen as teachers, I hope Erin is here in this session, as a school, as a function, not functioning school, as to streamline the process. I've seen at a few schools they have a QR code, which is their check-in. So instead of the fingerprint and the sign, they have to QR code, and that's their way of getting into the school. In terms of school visits, also visitors at the school. What we also have for teachers, which is also quite cool, on their door, they have a who I am kind of thing. And then within the class, I've seen in Miss Smith's class, what she's done is her learners are fortunate enough to have tablets. So when she has a activity, they will scan the QR code. I think they were doing, what were you doing that day, Erin? If you are here, she was doing something on WebQuest, and the learners had to scan the QR code and go and see what was going on in the WebQuest. And yeah, so that is how teachers are using it. And then, of course, when we had our awesome session at Liesel School, we used it to connect to the Wi Fi very, very quickly. So that was a very cool thing for us. So,
Right.
what do we have in the chat so far?
I'll read a few responses. Arifa says, as a learner, they can use it to complete projects or work as a group. Arifa also says, as a teacher, I will send them information to learn or a quiz to complete using the QR code.
Cool.
Arifa. And then Kaylin says, homework can be sent as a QR code, a fun spin on traditional handouts. Kasifa says, for learners, sharing resources easily, posting on projects or posters when space is limited, typing links faster, especially useful for younger learners. So there's a
I
lot of
love it.
interaction happening in the chat right now.
I love it. Fantastic. And on your screen in front of you, it's just showing you the differences between the link shorteners. So here we've got Bitly. It's got its strengths and its weaknesses. So even though I love it, you can only make 5 a month. And Rebrandly, up to 10, up to 100 a month. Short IO, complicated dashboard, and Tiny. It's one of the oldest ones, the original, the grandfather of all link shorteners. So this is a little takeaway that you can use to go forward with your link shortening journey. JC, would you like to take over, or should I go on to QR codes?
It's up to you, Miss Bailey. I think I'll take the QR codes one. I'll take the QR
Okay,
codes one.
I will stop now and then you can continue.
Right, so as Ms. Bailey said, there's numerous ones that you could use for link shorteners. Right, but these are the top three that we believe in. Bitly is now the taboo word, so we don't really speak about Bitly, even though we enjoy it. Rebrandly, it's a newer tool, it's growing popularity, and then as Ms. Bailey says, Tiny URL is the grandfather of this whole thing. Now we have QR codes. Now QR codes is one of my favorite things to use. Reason being, it's an easy image that you can create based on the link that you created, and then anyone can scan it using their smartphones. Now, a lot of us has an updated Google on our cell phones, and Google Lens is also a great way to scan the QR code. So if you don't have access to a QR code scanner on your phone, if you go into Google, there's a small tab that has a camera. You click on that, you scan the QR code with the Google Lens, and it will automatically work as a QR code scanner. So a QR code is similar to a barcode. So think about the product that you have in the store. You bring it to the cashier scans it, and all the information of the product pops up. That's the same thing with QR codes. Back in the day, it was difficult to create QR codes, but now with the new applications that we have, to create a QR code is easy, it's simple, and sometimes you can even customize the QR code depending on the website that you use. Now, why should we use QR codes? It's
Sorry,
great.
JC, before you continue, I posted a poll in the chat Unfortunately, I don't think our beautiful teachers read the question correctly. So the question is, what product do you use to create shared links? So not how are you sharing the links, but or what are you using, but what products. So yeah, we've spoken about Bitly, we've spoken about everything else. So let's have a look at that. Thank you.
uh, so why should we
Holiday, it's
use
holiday.
as holiday? Mine is not on work at all. So when you use hard copies of documents and want to add access to web-based content, so for example, if you gave a hard copy of a newsletter to the parents, but you want to give a link to extra resources for learners to access or for them to do work on, you would use a QR code. Or when you want to add activities to your presentations, if you're presenting to a classroom or to parents or to your colleagues and you want them to do a quick icebreaker, it's great to just put up the QR code, they scan it, and then they do it on their phone. I use a QR code, for example, when I'm providing e-learning sessions at my school so that they can access the register before we start with the sessions, just scan it with their phone, enter the information, and then we can just get going. And the same as creating handouts that has interactive elements. Right? But the bad thing and the negative part of a QR code, and which we have established, is that it only works if someone has a way to scan them. So if they don't have a mobile device, they cannot scan the QR code. I don't think I've seen a laptop that can scan a QR code. Tablets can, some tablets can, but most smartphones can. But if you don't have a cell phone on you, it's difficult to access that resource or to get that QR code back. Now, there are many QR code generators. The one is Chrome. As I said before, it has a built-in QR code generator. You can use QR Monkey. QR Monkey is free to use. You can customize your QR codes, which I'll show you just now. Everything is free on QR Monkey. And then a QR code generator, which is basically an app that's used by everyone else. You can't customize your QR codes as you would like to, but it's a little bit more simpler to use, and it just gives you great designs. So let me just go into one of them quick, which we'll do QR Monkey quickly. You can still see my screen, Ms. Bailey?
Yes, I do. And QR Monkey is also my favorite one, and so is Canva.
Yes, Canva also has one built in. I played around with that the other day. Right, so all you do is you just search QR Monkey, you look for the one that has the image of the monkey in the top left hand corner, and then it would work the same. So you go find a resource. So let me find a resource from the WCD portal quickly. Go to the e-portal. Right, so this is the way that I would use it in the classroom. A lot of the time, I would go look for resources for my learners. So, for example, I look for a resource on poetry using the e-portal. And I use this as an aid just to give them extra resources. So, for example, let's take this one right here. Aspects of poetry. Now, all you would do is you'll copy the link. Just copy the link quickly. Right, copy the link. And then you paste it here where it says your URL. So that means the website that you want people to access, or the document or the information you want people to access. The URL is the code that's in the top space bar right there. As you can see there, Google Lens is also in my top right hand corner. So then I'll just paste. Right, and then here you can customize it, right? So you can set the different colors that you would like, different color gradient. If you maybe have a certain color that your school uses, they just stick to that color. Or I know what the department is a set color scheme that you have to use, then you could use it on the QR code. You could even add a logo image. Right, so for example, if you wanted to be Facebook, upload image. If this is a QR code to your school Facebook, right, then that will basically pop up here in the middle. If you wanted to be to a Spotify or whatever it is, you can even upload your own images, but it has a maximum size of 2 megabytes. So you first have to check the image, okay, and see if it does conform to the requirements. And then you can even customize the design in the way that you would like it to be. The different designs that you would like it to be, you can even customize it, which is great. And then once you have done all of those things, right, and then you would just say create QR code. Right, and as you can see there, I chose the Spotify picture. I kept the same colors. I changed the design. And then this QR code, you are able to either download as a picture or you can use it the way that it is right here. You just download quick. Right, so then it generates, it takes a few seconds just to generate your QR code and then you are able to use it, then it is live. The reason why we enjoy using QR Monkey, because as you can see, there's not a lot of bells and whistles, it's just literally pasting your QR, your link, and then you basically have your whole picture. And then let me just, and then this is the way it will look once you have completed. And there's my QR code ready to print it out or to copy and then paste in the chat. Just copy and then I'll paste in the chat quickly. Boom. And there's my QR code in the chat without me having to do anything more. Anything you'd like to add, Ms. Bailey?
No, I would actually like to now see for those Kashifa. Let's see if you can now scan the QR code. Liesel, explain the steps again with the image on the phone.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Very faint.
So what you do is these days you don't need a so I see a lot of there was a few comments that says you have to have an app on the new Android phones. You don't have to have it. So you have a QR scanner installed as software on your phone. So all you do is you open your camera and you can number one scan the QR and it'll give you the link as is. If you don't have that option in your camera, you take a photo of the QR code, right? So you don't scan it, you just take a photo, and then into your gallery. But you'll see, even if you hover over it and you haven't taken a photo, but you could go then into your gallery, there will be a small little a yellow dot bottom right hand corner with a key in. So that is going to extract all the text from the image, and that is your QR scanner as well.
The
That's
QR
great.
is working.
Yeah.
Saleh, did you
So
scan
that
it
is
with your phone or the Liesel way?
you take a photo of the QR. But even if you just hover over it with your camera on and not take a photo, you will also still see that yellow dot that says extracted, and that will also scan the QR.
That's
Okay, Kashifa is giving you a high five.
okay. So it does work. Great. Great. Now I also found another way to do it. Right, so
Awesome.
while everyone's playing around, I just want to show you there is a Chrome extension that you can add to your Google Chrome. Right, all you would search is QR code generator. Right, and then you click on it, and then if you give it access, it will basically create a QR code for this whole website without you having to go through all of those effort. So if I click on it here, right, and there you go, it created me automatically a QR code for this whole website right here. So it is called QR code generator. If you go to your Google Chrome extension store, you just add it to your extensions as I have right here, and then every time you're on a website or a document that you want to just create a QR code, if it is online, you just click on your QR code generator and then the QR code will generate for you. The only thing is you can't provide your own shortened link or whatever it may be, but it creates a perfectly good QR code that you can use as well.
That's cool. I also like now that you can, or not now, I suppose I just figured it out when I was working with somebody, with WhatsApp and all of those QR codes and the links and everything. I know we all have about 500 groups that we all belong to, but you can also get a QR code for WhatsApp as well. And I really think that is really good at this point in our lives. So I was at the printing shop And I said, why don't you guys have a WhatsApp number? And the guy just pointed and said, please scan the QR code and
Code.
you can get onto our WhatsApp. Oh, thank you so much.
But I know for the school we have a news channel, like the channels that they created, and then in our foyer we have a QR code that you just scan and then automatically gets added you to the para high school channel.
Love it.
Right.
You are with your computer. I can't do it. My lighting is not 100%. You open your camera on your laptop. If you don't, you have to have obviously a camera installed on your laptop. Um, so if you have a desktop that usually doesn't have a camera, but if your laptop, in your on your toolbar on the right, or on your toolbar wherever it is, there is a barcode option, and you can scan the QR with your computer, your laptop.
I've seen that, yes, but it's only certain laptops that has the capabilities.
Yeah, I just did it, so that's also an option.
So now let's get to the interactive part after we have played around with the QR codes and the link shorteners. Now we're going to give you 3 different scenarios and we want you to type in the chat what you would use in the classroom, either QR code or link shortener. Right? So in our first scenario, in the computer lab, you want students to access a page on an educational website during a scheduled computer lab session. You need to display the URL clearly for them to type into the browser on shared computers. Now in the chat, like Ms. Bailey said, which product would you use to create this? So they have to retype the URL so that they can access it on their shared computers.
Soleil is giving some financial advice also there for FNB colleagues.
I don't know, any answers yet in the chat, Ms. Bailey?
Nothing yet. Everybody's just enjoying Soleil's financial advice. So Lizette says a shortener.
Yes. Which shortener?
Lizette's our only answer at the moment. I think everybody's just gone onto their FNB account.
Counts.
Yeah.
Let me also check. Maybe I also need this information.
Liesel
Give you more
says
e-backs if you pay by Snapscan.
Liesel says Canva.
Oh, that's
QR
also one.
code, link shortener.
Okay, I'll give the answer. I think everyone's a bit.
Okay, so here we've got Rebrandly and
Bitly or
Bitly.
Bitly. Right, let's go to the second scenario. You're teaching in the classroom and you have several tablets and cell phones that the learners can share. That's great. You want them to access a specific course to see how much they know about the topic before starting a new one. Which product would you use?
Okay, we've got Canva, QR code, QR code, QR code.
QR code is the correct one.
Canva, QR code.
Right, so let's hold on to that energy for the last scenario. Your class is starting a research project where students are working in a group. Each group needs to access a specific set of digital resources. You want to provide a structured guide for their research process. What would you use? And this is a segue into our last part of the session. Can anyone take a guess?
Oh, just a recap on the financial advice. You get the most e-bucks if you load a virtual card and pay with your virtual card on your phone. So does anybody have an answer to scenario 3?
I love teachers.
I love teachers too. You guys are awesome. Just sharing information. I
Just
love
helping
it.
one another out make more money.
I love it. Guys, let's get back on track here.
What's happening? Are they sharing more information?
Arifa says create a QR code which provides a document explaining it. You're getting close there. Kashifa says a QR code link. We're getting there. QR code and Bitly. A bit more detail, ladies and gentlemen. A shared doc. There we
Here we
go.
go.
QR code leading to different guides to the assessment. Ilhana, you get the prize today. Well done.
I wish we had like a clapping hands audience or something
I
like
know,
that.
guys. Let's all go to React and give her a round of applause. Or just put it in the chat.
Chat. Right, Miss Bailey, I think this is you, and then I'll take the example part.
Okay, so a hyperdoc, like Gilhana is referring to, there she's getting a round of applause, which is amazing. So a hyperdoc is a document that has many different links on it. So I'm going to show you an example. See, JC works with the slide deck, and I prefer to just show you the examples. So let me just get there quickly. So here we have an example of, well, this is a little bit of an example of a hyperdoc, but I don't want that one. This is what it is. Okay, so this document was created using AI. So please, whatever's here was just put here for the fun of it. If you look in the chat, the previous link that I put, the first rebrandly that I put in the chat, that's also an example of a hyperdoc. So Jaycee's going to take us through how to do this to make it accessible for learners, parents, everybody. And so you can see here's some solid writing over there. And here we've got our link. And if you click on it, it will take you to the link. Now, you are all familiar with this by now, I'm assuming, because once you get a letter to respond to something, it will most likely take you to a Google form or a Microsoft form or to another page. Similarly, during 2020, 2021, we had all those wonderful lesson plans coming out, weekly lesson plans, interactive lesson plans, which also had different links in it. Okay, so this is one of the examples that we are going to look at. So this takes me, it's all about Shakespeare. You can see that Yaku created this. So here we have the play and the overview, the characters and everything. And then we have a direct link for the learner to click on. Now, imagine how wonderful it would be if we were able to give this to the learners. And then, as one of the other teachers said earlier, she can share it on WhatsApp and then they have access to everything. They'll be able to click on all the links. There's even a little character map over here that is, I hope it opens. It's another link to a Google search. So in one page, this one pages has all this information. And then again, there's a little QR code that the learner would be able to scan also and then have access to the information. So one, we can print this and put it up in the class for the learners to scan the QR code if they are able to, or the parents to scan it. And then secondly, we can share it electronically and they are able to click on the links and they are able to go through the QR code. So make your life more efficient, simpler by getting everything into one page so that we can access a lot of different information. And in that way, the work is no longer static, it is also dynamic. And this link, I can now change it to something else. Say there is something more important or something clarifying documentation on assessment guidelines. Say the assessment guidelines have suddenly changed for an assignment. You can change it and remind the learners, just go and have a look at point number 7 to see that this task is out of 15 and no longer out of 25. Okay, so this is a simple way to keep everything all together. Am I missing anything, JC?
No, Miss Bailey, I think you covered most of it.
Okay, wonderful. Are you ready to do the demo?
I'm ready.
Wonderful.
Let me just share my screen again. Right, can everyone see my screen, Miss Bailey?
Yes, we can. It says Google.
Okay, great. So with the hyperdoc, this is what's actually called. You can either call it a collaboration doc, but we usually call it a hyperdoc because it will be a document filled with a lot of hyperlinks. So basically links that goes into different resources. Now, like, Ms. Bailey showed you an example of one that was created there by Yaku. Another one is this one right here. I'll just show you one of the ones that I use in the classroom with my learners. Oh, if I can just access it quickly. Just go to my Google Drive because that's where I saved everything. Oh, there's it. Uh, just struggling quick, right? So this is the one that my learners and myself has created together. So this is what we call in the class a cheat sheet. So it basically has a summary of everything that has to do with the novel that myself and my grade 12s are reading. So this whole document was created by myself and all the learners. So everyone had a part in this document. For example, someone had to do the character analysis, a few people had to do chapter summaries, someone had to go find the audio book right here. So there's a link to the audio book so they can read along on their own at home. And then someone also had to go and find the themes and so on. So it was a collaborative document where we all had to work together on this document. So it wasn't just myself creating it, I actually taught them how to use the document. And this way, when they get to university and they have assignments, group assignments, they actually know how to create a collaborative document and work together on this document. So the way that you would start is you go into the top right hand corner and go to the thing that I like to call a waffle. Because I am a self-proclaimed foodie, I love food, so anything that looks like food, I'll use that analogy. So this is what we call the waffle. And if you scroll down, you'll see that the docs folder is right there, well, the icon. You click on that, and then it will open up onto Google Docs, the online version. So Google Docs works the same like your Microsoft Word offline. Same thing, the only difference is there's more capabilities when you are using it online. So as you can see here, you have everything, all the tools, all the banners and everything that you may need. Right? But the great thing is that you can add links directly onto this page right here without actually having to use a QR code creator or a link shortener. So for example, you maybe have a resource about, let's say, poetry. So poetry, I'm typing it here, new concepts and definitions, right? Now, how we used to do it is we'll go to the link we want to use, we'll just copy it, and then we would paste the link the same way as it is written right here. Just copy, and then you would usually paste it under the words that you have there. Right, and then that would be the link. That's one way to do it. It's not the way that I usually do it, because the reason being is sometimes this whole content will be missed, or maybe if someone types out your headings and the person's not going to actually know what this link is for, they're going to have to click on it and go into everything else, and then it's a whole mess. So there's two ways that you can do it. The one way is that you can actually hide the link behind this whole text. So the way that you know when something is a link is that it is in blue or it is underlined. So you highlight the text or the text that you want to make it a link. So I highlight that whole thing right there. Right, and then I'll right click. Right, and then you'll see there's an insert link tab. So if I click on insert link, this page here would pop up. Right, so then you just paste the link that you have copied. Right, as you can see here, and then you press apply. And as you can see there, my whole text turned blue. So that means that the link is now hidden behind this whole text right here. So the link won't change or anything. It's just that if they click on this heading right here, they get a preview of where the link is going to take them, and then they'll click it and it will open up onto, as you can see, they will redirect them to that resource right there. So it is a great way for you to actually add different resources and to actually get the intended content to your learners without them having to actually click on all the links and you having to go make a new link shortener or change the back of the link. Now this is cool, just something to play around with. But the important part, now say you have completed all of those documents and you want to share it with the learners. That's why we have the share button right here. Click on share. Right, so let's name it that. Let's save. We'll name it that right there. And the great thing about a hyperdoc is that it is housed online. So meaning that it will save automatically to your cloud. So if you're using Google, it will save to your Google Drive. If you're using Microsoft Online, it will save to your OneDrive. Right, so you don't have to worry about saving every time you do something. It automatically saves as long as you are connected to the internet. Now, a question that I always get from people is if there are so many people working on one document, right? There is going to be the one person that's going to try to be funny and change things or wipe out the whole section. How do you get it back? Now, that's why this clock is here on the left hand side. If you click on the clock, can you see there? It will give you different versions of the document. So, meaning it will give you the first version, second version. Every time there are changes and it saves, it will give you all of those versions. So you can actually go back to the first version where there's nothing, or you can go to the current version where there is something. So if someone changes something or wipes out the whole section, you just go to the clock, you can look for the version that is the most accurate, and then you restore that version. But please note this is only available on the online version of Word documents. So it won't work on your Microsoft if it's on your desktop or wherever. But if it's online, it works the same for Microsoft and it works the same for your Google Docs. So you can recover all of the information that someone else maybe changed depending on the version. Right, so let's go back to the sharing. So the sharing, you just click on share. And then most importantly, you have to go to this general access right here. If you want the people to be able to change anything, you have to change it to anyone with a link. And then you get three options. You can either make them just a viewer, so they can just look at the document, maybe scan links and scan QR codes. You can make them a commenter, meaning they can make comments on the document, but they can't change anything. And then you can make them an editor. So an editor meaning that they can change and work alongside you on this document. Now, once you have done all of those things, remember the person making the document will always be the owner. So they're the one that's still going to take charge of everything. An editor can just change things, but they can't change settings. You as the owner can. And then you just click on copy link. Or you can type in the email address of the people. Or if you have a Google Classroom, you can just type in the Google Classroom's name and then send it directly to them. But because we don't, we'll press copy link. And then I'll share the link with everyone in the chat right here. Paste. And then if you are able to, just click on the link and then join the document so I can show you how we all can collab on one document all together. You have anything to add, Ms. Bailey? I know the department makes use of a lot of these Google documents.
Yes, we do use shared documents, but I just wanted to know, Kaylin, Charlene, and Almarie are happy with the tip that you shared, but I'm not quite sure to what they are referring. If you can quickly clarify, Kaylin.
I I think they're talking about the
The
version
version
of,
history.
yeah.
Oh,
There's not
the
a lot of
clock.
people, not a lot of people know about that.
Okay, no problem. Yes, version history. And you can also get it in a Microsoft document as well. You are able to find or to go and check out the version history. Yes, Liesel?
Okay, so you can actually do it, restore version history in your desktop image Word.
Liesel, your sound is not clear.
Can you hear me better?
Yes, Liesel.
Yeah, a
I've
little
heard.
bit.
Okay, so you can actually restore the history version on a Word document in on your desktop version.
Yes, you can also do it in Microsoft.
Yeah.
Yes, it is possible.
It is
If you
possible, yeah.
want to change who the owner of the document is the only original owner that can change the ownership? Yes, because I am now giving my ownership to JC. And he
Yeah,
can now,
so
yeah.
you can also restore the original version, like as you said, restore the original version. You can do it on the desktop version of Word.
That's great. And then Charlene also says the whole idea and concept is brilliant. This can also motivate learners from different classes to prepare for exams. I'm thinking matric exams. Excellent, Charlene.
Exactly. I use this for the matric exams, especially for my learners to create their own study notes, but then maybe someone finds a cool resource and then share it with the others. So then it's one way that there's more helping one another in the class. All right, so if everyone can just see here on the top, you'll see different let's say icons for the different people that are joining. As you can see, there are 7 total participants, and because they are not signed into the Google accounts, they will just pop up as anonymous and then a certain animal that the generator gives them. If they are signed into the Google, then their name and stuff will pop up here, and as you can see, each person has a different color. So they'll type in the same black font, but the colors would be different to show who's busy typing when. Now, a quick activity that I want to do is, because we learned about link shorteners and we learned about QR codes, each person, when they're done typing hello and good morning, must just paste one QR code or one link shortener to a resource that they would like to share. It can be subject related, maybe from the e-portal. It can be an invite to the school dance or whatever it is, or the school newsletter. But just to show us that you can add your links to this document with QR codes. And then just to throw a span in the works, you cannot type it this way. Right? It has to be hidden behind a heading the way I showed you. So quick recap, you would highlight your text, the options would pop up there, and then you just press insert link, and then you insert the link in the search bar. So if everyone can just add their favorite resource, can be anything but school related, please, from the e-portal or their own. More resources can be found here. So someone just basically copied and pasted the attendance registers, the last part. Right, so just paste anything, and then as you can see here, the link has to be hidden behind a word or behind a text, so the link cannot stand on its own. That's a spanner in the works that I'm throwing you now. Oh, I see someone. Anonymous Kraken says this is great, and the link they sent to was a spreadsheet. That's cool. Right, anyone else? There's a few people that's still busy. Any questions yet in the chat or comments, Miss Bailey?
Now I'm also playing now, JC. I am also looking for fun things to do. I'm also pasting links now.
I'm waiting for my first QR code to pop up using QR Monkey or using Bitly or whatever product you would like to use. Oh, I see a few people adding there.
Liesel, I signed into my Google account, but I'm still anonymous. Any idea? Maybe you need to add her.
I need
It's a
to
personal account.
yeah,
I'm
if you add a
assuming.
personal account, if you send a link such as that, everyone will just pop up as anonymous. But if I click on share and then I personally invite Liesel, hope Liesel pops up here. Not with this account. If I personally invite Liesel, then icon will pop up as Liesel Maritz. That's why I said it's great if you do have a Google Classroom already created, or if you're using Office 365, a Teams account already created with all the people, then you can actually see their names and who's busy with the what section. Someone added a YouTube video. Great stuff. From the e-learning resource. I feel like this is you, Miss Bailey. Someone highlighted the hello there. Oh, a cats and dogs poster. That's cool. From Wikipedia. Someone made a massive QR code. Can you see? We are more around about 9 or 10 participants on here, and everyone is just typing and adding the same. Right? So without having any connectivity issues or people having to jump off the document and others having to be added to the document, now we can access everything else on here. Alright, so then now I just want to demonstrate how we can actually go back. So say there's a lot of chaos on your document, everyone's adding and not adding things that you wanted to add, and someone's trying to be funny, maybe creating big posters or adding things that are not relevant. We go on our clock right here. We go to my first version, right? And then I'll just click on my first version, right? You go to three dots, and then you can restore the version or make a copy of this version right there. Right, so then I restore this version right here. And as you can see there, we go back to the first part. But maybe that was an accident. So now I want the old copy back. I just go to the old copy and again restore this version. And then the old copy will pop up again. So this is great for adding links or taking away things that is not supposed to be there, or making sure everyone behaves in the presentation or in the class activity. Now the way that
Okay, Kaylin says, so I just went to my browser and right-clicked on the image and it asked me if I want to create a QR code for the image. Don't know if it's valid.
that's cool. That's something new. That's something that I also didn't know. I'm really gonna play around with that too, Kaylin. Right, so I think that everyone is having fun. So that's basically how a hyperdoc would work. You add the learners and yourself, or add all of the resources on here. You can share it with people, and then at any time you can also change the settings. Right, you can change the settings, and then you can just restrict everything to only people that you want to. If you do choose the restricted option, it means that every time someone accesses the link, they're gonna message you and say, please give me permission, and it just takes a lot. Rather just make a link accessible for anyone that you share the link to, and make sure that the person you're sharing the link with is the right person. And you can even create a QR code from this document itself by also highlighting the document, putting in the QR codes creator or link shortener, and then it will take you directly to this document right here. Right, and I think that is it. Anything else you'd like to add, Miss Bailey?
Yes, JC. I think that you have done a very good job of summing everything up. We've gone through the reason for ease of access so that it doesn't matter how good your resource is. If nobody can get to it, then your resource is not useful. So you need to make sure that you make that um, portal to the learners getting to the information, or the teachers or the parents or whoever needs the information. It has to be as easy as possible. So either it has to be printed QR code or links sent via electronically. I've been to a school once where I saw links on a page, and it was hidden links the way JC was explaining earlier. So how were we supposed to understand what was going on if we couldn't even see the actual link? So think of ways that your learners can use this, how you can empower them. We are creating learners for the future, or we are creating our workforce. We are creating the people who are going out into the world. So we need to empower them. And this is what this whole session has been about, to empower the learners, to wow them, to make sure that they have the necessary skills to cope with the demands that are going to face them going forward. And if you have a look in the chat, I see somebody asked for a recording. I have posted the YouTube channel over there. You will find all the recordings over there for the entire week. So everything will be there. I'm not sure if we are missing anything else, JC.
No, I think we covered everything, Miss Bailey.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Thank you for your insights. And if your child is at Parow High School, ask them if they know Mr. Van Willig. So thank you very, very much. And I just wanted to give you a short background on JC, because I'm not sure a lot of people know this. JC and I met by accident. And all of a sudden, he was doing a session, and then that was 3 years ago. And he has developed so much in this short time of working together. And to have this session is a real privilege for me, JC. It really is, because it's been a long time coming. So thank you for that.
You make me cry, Miss Bailey.
No, you're gonna make
I'm
me
just a
cry.
casual. I'm just a casual.
And last year, JC was the district winner for enhanced technology enhanced education, and this year he was a finalist for secondary school education for the district NTAs. So very, very happy. Liesel was also the one of our finalists for the NTAs. So thank you very much, colleagues. Enjoy your afternoon, everybody. We will be seeing you tomorrow at 8 o'clock, and we will be doing. What are we doing tomorrow morning? Somebody remind me.
I think we're doing
Flipped
book creator. Flip
classroom.
classroom. There we
A
go.
flipped classroom. Excellent. Okay, so we'll be doing a flipped classroom, and I think that's Liesel, if I'm not mistaken.
It's Kaylin.
It's Kaylin. Fantastic.
No, the dream team.
The dream team. Excellent. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Enjoy your afternoon.
Bye, everyone. Thank you. And please don't forget to fill in the attendance register.